The Dallas Unity Festival roared with life, grills sizzled, blues guitars wailed, and flags snapped in the June breeze. It was 3:12 p.m., June 4th, 2025, the sun baking the fairgrounds. Then, a shout cut through, "Hands up, fraud!" Officer Brandt, 40s, barrel-chested, cuffed Sarah Carter, a black woman at her barbecue stall, her apron smeared with sauce. "Fake permits," he sneered, tossing racial slurs like knives. The crowd froze, murmurs rising. Chuck Norris, 85, pushed through, denim jacket loose, cowboy hat low. He'd come for the ribs, a nod to old army buddies. His boots stopped dead, eyes locking on Brandt's sneer. This wasn't just a bad cop, it was a power play, and Chuck smelled rot. Yo, fellas, this one's a gut puncher. Hit subscribe, smash that like, and comment where you're watching from. Your support keeps Chuck's justice rolling. Let's dive in. Badge number, Chuck growled, voice like gravel. Brandt laughed, tightening Sarah's cuffs. "Mind your business, old man." Sarah, 50s, stood tall, eyes fierce. She leaned toward Chuck, whispering, "I'm Major Sarah Carter, Army. Call's coming." Chuck's jaw tightened. A soldier, disrespected. At 85, he didn't throw punches first, he carved truth. A janitor, Rosa, 50s, mopping nearby, slipped Chuck a USB drive, hands shaking. "They're all in on it," she muttered, eyes darting. Brandt noticed, barking, "Get lost, scrub." Rosa scurried off, but Chuck pocketed the drive, senses sharp. The festival's cheer hid something ugly, cops targeting vendors, and Rosa knew why. Sarah caught a bystander's phone, dialing fast. "Colonel Hayes, Pentagon," she said, loud. Brandt's smirk faltered. A voice boomed via speaker, "Release Major Carter, or you're done." Brandt's face drained, cuffs clicking off. Sarah stood prouder, rubbing her wrists. The crowd cheered, but Chuck saw Brandt's partner, Officer Tate, whispering into a radio, eyes on him. Twist, the radio crackled, "Norris is here. Holt says neutralize him." Chuck froze. Evelyn Holt, city councilor, was pulling strings. This wasn't random, Sarah's arrest was a trap to flush him out. Why him? In '92, he'd exposed a Dallas kickback scheme, costing Holt's allies millions. Now, they wanted payback. Chuck's hand brushed the knife in his boot, old habit, still sharp. He could confront Brandt now, but Rosa's fear in the USB meant more players. "Stay safe," he told Sarah, who nodded, eyes like steel. He moved toward the storage tents, where Rosa had fled, the crowd's noise fading. In a cluttered tent, Rosa cowered as Tate loomed, baton raised. "Where's the drive?" he snarled. Chuck stepped in, voice low. "Pick on someone your size." Tate swung, but Chuck sidestepped, disarming him with a wrist lock. Tate hit the ground, groaning. Rosa gasped, "They'll kill me." Chuck pulled her behind crates. "Who's they?" Rosa's voice shook. "Cops, counselors, rich folks. They shake down vendors, blacks, Latinos, poor. I've got proof." The USB burned in Chuck's pocket. Tate stirred, radio buzzing, Holt's at the VIP tent. Chuck's gut twisted. Expose the drive now, risk Rosa's life? Or hunt Holt quietly? As sirens wailed, back up for Tate, Chuck led Rosa out, dodging cops. The festival's lights glittered, but shadows hid predators. The USB held answers, but Holt's name meant war. Chuck Norris, even at 85, didn't flinch from that. The Dallas Unity Festival pulsed with laughter and barbecue smoke, but under the VIP tent, the air was rancid with arrogance. It was 6:45 p.m., June 4th, 2025, strings of lights casting a golden haze. Rosa, mid-40s, in her janitor's uniform, swept spilled wine, her face tight as festival elites, suits with slick hair and smug grins, jeered. Keep the place tidy, sweetheart. One, a banker named Grayson, sneered, tossing a napkin at her feet. The crowd chuckled, oblivious. Chuck Norris, 85, leaned against a post, cowboy hat low, USB burning in his pocket. He tailed Rosa after saving her from Officer Tate, the festival's corrupt cops still circling. Those fat cats weren't just rude, they were part of Evelyn Holt's network, squeezing minority vendors like Sarah Carter for cash. Chuck, a man who'd faced down cartels in his prime, saw red when workers got stomped on. Rosa's eyes met his, a silent plea. Chuck stepped forward, voice low. Enough. Grayson laughed. What's this guy, her knight? Chuck's stare could have cracked stone. At 85, he didn't need fists, his presence shut mouths. Rosa whispered, they've mocked me for years. I've got more on him. A kid, Jamal, 13, wiry and defiant, pushed through. My uncle's gonna bust these crooks, he shouted, pointing at Grayson. The elites roared, one mocking, what, your uncle's the president? Jamal grinned. He's an auditor. Knows their secrets. Chuck's gut pinged, Jamal's boldness screamed truth, but kids could be pawns. The USB held answers, maybe proof. Chuck pulled Rosa aside, Jamal tagging along. What's on this drive? He asked. Rosa glanced at Grayson, still smirking. Emails, bribes, cops, Holt, these rich jerks. They demand cash from vendors to keep stalls open. Chuck's jaw tightened. Extortion, targeting blacks, Latinos, small-timers. He'd seen it in '92, when he'd gutted Holt's last scam. Jamal tugged his sleeve. Uncle Marcus, he's got files, too. Chuck studied him, loyal, but reckless. Where is he? Jamal pointed to a festival office tent. Meeting someone now. Chuck moved, Rosa and Jamal behind, dodging the crowd's sway. The USB was dynamite, but Marcus could light the fuse, or be a setup. Twist 1, at the tent, Officer Brandt stormed out, cuffing Marcus Hayes, 58, a black man in a crisp suit, his glasses askew. Tax fraud. Brandt barked, shoving Marcus toward a squad car. He's a crook. Jamal yelled, that's a lie. Chuck's blood boiled, another frame up, like Sarah's arrest. Marcus caught Chuck's eye, mouthing, Holt. The network was silencing him, fast. Rosa pulled a laptop from a crate, borrowed from her union. Chuck plugged in the USB, emails flashed, Holt to Grayson, to Brandt, demanding $15,000 from vendors. Marcus flagged as trouble. Grayson sauntered in, smirking. You're digging, old man? Chuck stood, slow. Keep talking. Grayson reached for the laptop, but Rosa slammed it shut. I'm not invisible, she snapped. Twist 2, a woman, Clara, 50s, in a union vest, rushed in. Rosa, I warned you, she hissed, eyeing Grayson. I'm your union rep, got your back. But her phone buzzed, screen glowing, Holt, keep Rosa quiet. Chuck's gut twisted. Clara, Rosa's ally, was feeding Holt. Rosa's face crumpled. You sold me out? Clara bolted, but Chuck blocked her. Talk. Clara sobbed, they threatened my kid. Grayson laughed, lunging for the laptop. Chuck sidestepped, tripping him into a table. Stay down, he growled. Sirens wailed, Brandt's back up. Jamal grabbed Rosa's arm. We gotta save Uncle Marcus. Chuck nodded, pocketing the USB. Clara's betrayal meant Holt knew their moves. Expose the drive now, risk a riot? Or free Marcus first? Chuck led Rosa and Jamal through the festival, dodging cops. The blues band wailed, but Holt's shadow loomed. Marcus was key, but Clara's double-cross screamed trap. Chuck Norris, even at 85, walked toward it, eyes like steel. The Dallas Unity Festival glowed under a twilight sky, food stalls buzzing and a country band strumming, but the backlit was a den of vipers. It was 8:22 p.m., June 4, 2025, the air thick with grease and greed. Chuck Norris, 85, crouched behind a storage shed, cowboy hat low, eyes on a group of festival insiders, suits led by Grayson, the smug banker, loading cash boxes and vendor supplies into unmarked vans. Poor saps won't miss it, Grayson chuckled, pocketing a wad. This wasn't petty theft, it was Evelyn Holt's crew, bleeding the festival dry. Chuck's hand tightened on the USB drive. It's proof of Holt's bribery scheme, cops, elites, and counselors extorting minority vendors, still hot from Rosa's laptop. Rosa, mid-40s, in her janitor's uniform, and Jamal, 13, crouched beside him, the kid's eyes wide but fierce. Rosa's betrayal by her union rep Clara, a mole for Holt, stung deep, and Jamal's uncle Marcus was rotting in a cell, framed. Chuck, a man who'd stared down corruption in '92, knew this was war. Grayson kicked a crate, laughing. These vendors, blacks, Mexicans, pay or get out. Chuck's blood boiled. Entitlement like that burned honest men, the kind he'd fought beside in the army. He signaled Rosa. Ready? She nodded, clutching a megaphone, her union badge glinting. Rosa stood, megaphone blaring. You're done, Grayson. Her voice echoed, drawing a crowd. I'm Union Local 47's secretary. You steal from us, you answer to me. Grayson froze, face red. You're nothing, janitor. But Rosa held up her phone, streaming USB data, emails, bank transfers, Holt's orders to rob vendors. The crowd gasped, phones out, recording. Twist 1, Chuck stepped forward, USB in hand. Holt targeted Major Sarah Carter and Marcus Hayes, he said, voice gravel. Why? Sarah's Pentagon probe and Marcus' audit were closing in. Rosa's screen flashed, Holt's emails ordering Sarah's arrest and Marcus frame up. The crowd roared, but Grayson sneered, you've got nothing. Then Officer Tate burst in, gun drawn. Drop it, Norris. Jamal tugged Chuck's sleeve. He's one of them. Chuck's eyes narrowed. Tate, Brant's partner, wasn't just muscle, he was Holt's eyes. Chuck sidestepped Tate's aim, disarming him with a wrist lock, gun clattering. Talk, Chuck growled. Tate spat, Holt owns the city. The crowd surged, pinning Tate, but Grayson bolted, vans peeling out. Twist 2, Rosa's phone pinged, a text from Clara, Tate's feeding Holt your moves. Run. Chuck's gut twisted. Clara, the traitor, was warning them? Or luring them? Tate's radio crackled, Holt's at the gala tent, prepping the finale. The festival's closing gala, where Holt would spin her charity, was her endgame. Rosa's face hardened. I'm ending this. Chuck grabbed Tate's radio, hearing Holt's voice, Norris is close. Clean it up. The dilemma hit hard, storm the gala now, risk a riot with Holt's muscle there, or track Grayson for more proof. At 85, Chuck played chess, not checkers. Jamal, stick with Rosa, he said. The kid nodded, loyal as a son. Rosa clutched the megaphone, ready to rally workers. Chuck moved through the festival, dodging Holt's patrolling cops. He spotted Grayson at a loading dock, stuffing cash into a bag. Chuck crept close, but a shadow moved, Clara, eyes frantic. I'm sorry, she whispered. Holt's got my boy. Chuck's jaw tightened. Redemption or ruse? Prove it, he said. Clara handed him a burner phone, screen showing Holt's gala speech live. Rosa's voice boomed from the festival stage, replaying USB data. Holt's stealing your money. Workers cheered, but sirens wailed, Holt's backup. Chuck pocketed Clara's phone, Grayson in his sights. The gala was Holt's last stand, and Chuck Norris was walking right into it, ready to break her empire. The Dallas Unity Festival's gala tent sparkled with chandeliers and champagne flutes, a glitzy mask for rot. It was 10:03 p.m., June 4, 2025, the air heavy with cologne and lies. Evelyn Holt, 50s, in a silk gown, toasted community spirit on stage, her smile sharp as a blade. Below, festival-goers clapped, unaware she'd bled their vendors dry. Chuck Norris, 85, slipped in, cowboy hat low, USB drive hot in his pocket. Rosa, mid-40s, in her union badge, and Jamal, 13, flanked him, eyes fierce. Sarah Carter and Marcus Hayes, freed but bruised, waited backstage, ready to strike. Chuck's boots were silent on plush carpet, his gaze cutting through Holt's act. Her network, cops like Brandt and Tate, elites like Grayson, had framed Sarah and Marcus, mocked Rosa, and stolen festival funds. Tate's double-agent betrayal still stung, but Clara's warning about Holt's finale screamed trap. At 85, Chuck didn't rush, he dismantled. Holt raised her glass. To unity. Then, chaos erupted. Officer Brandt stormed in, cuffing Marcus again. Fugitive, he barked. The crowd gasped, but Chuck stepped forward, voice like gravel. He's clean. You're done. Rosa hit the stage, megaphone roaring. Holt's a thief. She plugged the USB into a projector, emails flashing, Holt's orders to extort vendors, frame Sarah and Marcus, rob the festival. Grayson, in the crowd, paled. Sarah joined Rosa, her army major's poise unbroken. Pentagon's watching, she said, phone live to her colonel. Marcus, cuffs off, added, my audit's public tomorrow. The crowd roared, phones out, streaming. Twist 1, a man, 60s, gray suit, slipped through the gala's back exit, his cufflink glinting, a spiral, like the syndicate Chuck crushed in '83. Holt's eyes followed him, panicked. Chuck's gut twisted. A backer, bigger than Holt, pulling strings. He moved to intercept, but Grayson lunged, knife flashing. Chuck sidestepped, pinning Grayson's arm, knife clattering. Who's he? Chuck growled. Grayson spat, you're dead, Norris. Holt screamed, stop them. Her hired muscle, ex-cops, goons, rushed the stage. Chuck dove, shielding Rosa, disarming a thug with a wrist snap. Sarah tackled another, Marcus guarding Jamal. The crowd surged, some cheering, others fleeing. Brandt aimed at Chuck, but Tate, cuffed backstage, yelled, Holt's finished. Was he switching sides, or playing both? Twist 2, Jamal, hiding under a table, plugged the USB into his phone. Mr. Norris, he shouted, showing a hidden file, Syndicate Directive, National Grid. It named Holt's backer, Victor Crane, linked to power outages in 3 cities. Chuck's blood chilled. This wasn't just Dallas, Crane's syndicate was national, targeting infrastructure. Holt's festival scam was a test run. Chuck hauled Grayson to his feet, but sirens wailed, honest cops, tipped by Sarah's Pentagon call. Holt bolted for the exit, but Rosa blocked her, megaphone down. You mocked me, Rosa said, voice steel. Now you're nothing. Holt shoved past, but Chuck caught her arm, gentle but iron. It's over. Cops swarmed, cuffing Holt, Brandt, and goons. Grayson slumped, career torched. Outside, the festival quieted, stars bright. Chuck scanned for Crane, but he'd vanished, his speedboat's wake fading on the river. Sarah approached, saluting. We got him, sir. Marcus clapped Jamal's shoulder. My nephew's a hero. Rosa stood tall, union workers cheering her. Chuck nodded, pride flickering. At 85, he'd lit the spark, but they'd burned the corruption down. Jamal handed Chuck the USB. Crane's still out there. Chuck pocketed it, finding a note in his jacket, Syndicate sees you, Norris. No signature, but Crane's shadow loomed. Dallas was safe, Holt's empire dust, but the fight wasn't done. Chuck tipped his hat, eyes on the horizon. He'd buried syndicates before. He'd do it again.